All right, how is everybody doing? It seems like I just did this last month, but bam, they're just flying by. It is absolutely crazy. So I'm deep into book 4. I announced the title not too long ago. It's called The Devil's Hand, and you'll have to wait to read it to find out why. But anyway, oh hey, Mickey, carry trainer. I know I haven't gotten the little audio thing yet, and I will do that, so I'll have better audio on these videos at some point. So where do I start today? I think I'm gonna start with a review. So I'm gonna do a negative review video again. People really like that, and they're kind of fun to do. So I have that in the works. But in the meantime, here's a good one. And 1 star. Silly gun fetish porn. Thriller, quote unquote, is a hell of an overstatement. This is a straightforward, suspense-free story of how a red-blooded, gun-toting America lover takes down a secret cabal of paper-thin sociopathic cowards who, despite being lily-livered and feckless, nevertheless somehow conspire to, I'm not sure, ruin everything. I didn't get that far into this joke of a novel to find out. Recommended if you can't fall asleep without lovingly tucking an AR-15 between your thighs. Everyone else will do just fine to avoid. I guess creative, I guess that's good. Non-verified purchase, of course. Anyway, speaking of that, tucking an AR-15 between your thighs before you go to bed, I'm finally getting around to getting all my ARs and other weapon systems all set up. And things got busy over the last few years, so I have various rifles in different stages of of setup over there. So Era 3 right here, got some iron sights, got the Aimpoint Micro on there, have the Surefire Scout on the side there, and with a mount from these guys are pretty cool. ARISAKA, Arisaka. Anyway, like that. They make a lot of cool mounts for these things. So got that, and got my Viking Tactics sling, of course. And yeah, so this is pretty much a great little go-to setup right here. Not too complicated, really light, ready to rock and roll. So awesome. What else do I have going on? Might as well stick with rifles. So this here is an AK from the lovely people at Rifle Dynamics. Awesome. This is the Thunder Ranch version. This is awesome. I went out there and shot it earlier this year. We put a little red dot on there as well. And this thing, awesome. They're making some amazing stuff over there at Rifle Dynamics for those that are into the AK side of the house. So I do a lot of AK work in the book, especially this last one, Savage Son. So I had to reach out to people, to Larry Vickers and James Rupley, who takes the photos for the Vickers guides. If you don't have the Vickers guides, you should. They have a great AK one, but of course there's so many different variants made in so many different countries all around the world, and so I wanted to make sure that I got that right in Savage Son. So I was reaching out to the experts for that. But anyway, this thing's pretty sweet. Thanks, guys. It's so cool. All right, looking forward to. I think we're gonna do a rifle build class in January, February out in Vegas, and then auction one of those off. So that should be pretty cool. Let's see. Let's just stick with weapons right here. So Dustin, man. So Dustin was one of the guys that won one of the giveaways for the launch of Savage Son, and this thing is a, let's see, Hinderer. I think I'm saying that right. Hinderer blade. This thing, amazing. Check that out. That is super sweet. So Dustin, man, thank you so much. He's Ruin or Despair on Instagram, and dude, that's so sweet. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Incredible. I think I got the better end of that deal. So also Gavin, man, this guy has been following me from early on, super early supporter. Gavin McKenna out in San Diego, and he sent me this awesome buck knife. Now I've had buck knives before, but for some reason I never had this classic right here. So Every American, I'm almost embarrassed to say that, because I know CJ Buck, he's awesome. I have a bunch of other buck knives, but for some reason I just never had this one. So Gavin didn't even know that and sent me this, and just incredible. So this really means a lot to me as well. Very cool. I mean, everybody should have one of these, and I can't believe I didn't until now. So very cool. And then Gavin also, man, put a lot of thought into this sweet pen right here. It's like a rifle, but The wood on this is 4-barrel rose wood bourbon barrel. And anyway, he knows my favorite book is Brotherhood of the Rose by David Morrell, who created the character Rambo back in 1972, and mentions seals in Brotherhood of the Rose, which he wrote in the early 80s. And that was one of the things that led me down the path that I eventually took and followed. So anyway, very cool. Thank you so much. What else is going on here? All right, so the end of the game, and Len Waldron got this for me. And I can't believe I didn't have this either, Peter Beard. So yeah, he passed away, not too long ago. And I posted about it. If you scroll back a few weeks in Instagram, you can learn a little bit about him. But if you don't know about him, what a fascinating guy, absolutely incredible. And this is really one of his seminal works. I think his seminal work, The End of the Game. So Len, thank you so much. Super cool. Len and I did an interview for Athlon Outdoors publication and talked Land Cruisers, Hemingway typewriters, hunting, writing, transitions. It was awesome. So thank you. It means a lot to me. People always ask about my watch. So Aries watch, it's a diver. It comes in this sweet case. So this one is not for me. I don't know if you can see that right there. So this one says name, Reese J. That's so cool. Anyway, open this thing up. It's such cool packaging. Awesome watch. Absolutely love it. This one is going to somebody else, but I'm not going to tell you who. You can probably guess though. So cool. So Matt over at Aries Watch Company, thank you so much. Super cool. All right, before I get to books, let's see. Hey, bam, what is that? What? Yeah, Revenge Blend. Get some. So that's now on the site from Black Rifle Coffee. It's ground. Yeah, you fire up your day with a little Revenge Blend before you go and get after it. In fact, I'm firing up my morning with a little right now. I got up early today, so if you've been following podcasts or listening to me, you'll know that I kind of fell off the workout wagon a little while back because things, man, it's been crazy. So back on it this morning. Got up early, trail run, kettlebell workout, and feeling good. I did feel a little bit like Rocky, that first run he does in the first film where he kind of walks back home. So anyway, I'm going to get to the sprinting up the steps here over the next few weeks. So I'm back on the workout game. So that was a great trail run this morning. What else is going on here? All right, let's switch over to the books. So this month's reading list. So for those of you that are new to this, I choose 6 books from my reading list every month, and I talk about them on my blog and talk about how they influenced me, where I was when I read them, how old I was, how they impacted me as both an author or as a leader in combat. And here's this month's 6. And this might seem like a strange one. Never Cry Wolf, Farley Mowat. And I read this, I must have read this in 5th grade. So it's been a little bit. But of course, there's some controversy around this novel about its veracity and political leanings of the author, what he was trying to accomplish, that sort of thing. But when you're in 5th grade and you're 10 years old and you're reading this thing, all you care about is that a guy is on his own in the Arctic, just dropped off, and it's just a great story. So I think if you can read it like that, or if you can introduce your kids to Farley Mowat and some of those other stuff, his children's books I remember were great, like Lost in the Barrens and a few of those other ones that I read, maybe 3rd or 4th grade, something like that. But anyway, Never Cry Wolf, it is a classic. And I don't know if I read it today, and there's a lot of filters that would have to pass through. Lots happened since 5th grade. So anyway, Farley Mowat, Never Cry Wolf, classic. So this is a little different also. The Hobbit. So fantasy type things are definitely not, if you look at the books behind me, you can tell my shelves are not filled with these kind of novels, but I'll tell you what, The Hobbit is a must read, just as far as storytelling goes, especially if you're an author. It has all the elements, the reluctant hero, the mentor, the journey, the crucible, and the tests, the return from where he came, transformation. So it's all in here, and it's a fantastic story. It was one of those ones that I read, that's been 20 years now, but I know I should read it, so I did, and I'm so glad that I spent some time with these pages. So The Hobbit, definitely check that out. All right, now this one, Presumed Innocent, Scott Turow. So if you're a fan of John Grisham, as I am, if you haven't read this, definitely do so. And this came out before The Firm, before A Time to Kill, which John Grisham wrote before The Firm. But this was really, I mean, it almost, I don't know if it did, I might get in trouble for saying this, create like a legal thriller, kind of create that genre in the thriller space. At least for me it did, because it was the first legal thriller that I read. So I read this high school, right around the time it came out, and then saw the movie. The movie had Harrison Ford in it. It's a great film, but I'd recommend reading the book first and then seeing the movie. But they did a great job with the adaptation. So Presumed Innocent, Scott Turow, excellent book. Now here's one, Deliverance. All right, I don't get scared off just because you've seen part of the movie or the banjo scene at the beginning of the movie or that sort of thing. But James Dickey is one of the greatest novelists, poets of the 20th century. And if you haven't read Deliverance, definitely read this book. I read it probably, I don't know, early on in high school, maybe even 8th grade. But it's fantastic. I love those books. I always gravitated to those books that were kind of man versus nature, man versus himself in that natural setting. So Deliverance, check it out. Incredible book. Should not be missed. Gates of Fire. I know I've talked about this one before, but it wasn't on my reading list. It was on my military reading list, but it wasn't on the past 6 books that I do every month yet. So Gates of Fire, Stephen Pressfield, must read. It's on like every military reading list on earth, but Stephen Pressfield is a great guy. We spent some time together over the last couple months, and could not have been nicer, could not have been more welcoming to me into the space as a new author. And if you are an aspiring author or a writer, his website is full of amazing information. I think it's Writing Wednesdays, when he has a blog post that comes out that, go scroll through those. There's a lot of great information in there. And if you haven't read his other books on creativity, which I think starts with The War of Art, then Turning Pro, Do the Work, Authentic Swing, absolutely fantastic books. You can get through those in about an hour. This one will take you a little longer, but this one will take you back to Thermopylae, the 300, Sparta, and there's a little more information about this on the blog on my website. So once again, Gates of Fire, Stephen Pressfield, 100% not to be missed. And have your kids read this one too. 6th, 7th, 8th grade, high school. Get them in these pages. It'll turn them on to reading, and there's also great life lessons in here as well. All right. Tom Ricks, The Gamble. So last month I covered Fiasco, which covers Iraq from the invasion from 2003 up to about 2006 timeframe. This one is 2006 through 2008. And if you are interested in how we got into Iraq, what happened once we got there, how we adjusted and adapted, definitely start with Fiasco, the first one, and then move in to The Gamble. But spend some time on these pages. Politicians for sure should read these books. Military officers or anybody in the military should read these books, particularly the guys that are not leaving the gate and that are staying behind in tactical operations centers or staying behind in the United States, but are responsible for the lives of those that they send out downrange that actually leave the gate and go do the job. So read these books. They're 100% worth your time. All right, bam, what else is going on here? Gosh, should that be it? Oh, it was just the 4th of July, wasn't it? So I read this to the family last night. We always read the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July. I think it's a great tradition. You kind of stumble through it, of course, because the language is a couple hundred years old, but read this. Obviously, it's important to be familiar with our founding documents. I'll talk a little bit in another video about the gifts that I gave my kids when I retired from the military. The Constitution, a leather-bound copy was one of those things, but Declaration of Independence, our founding documents, you need to be familiar with those. So the 4th of July is a great excuse. I know we're always so busy, always running around 1,000 miles an hour, but 4th of July is always a good time to put it on the calendar. Take a breath, read this with the family. Even if the kids are young, it's a great tradition to start. So, bam, what else is going on? Oh, books, finally back in stock. The Terminal List was out in both paperback and hardback almost everywhere for like 2 months. So it is back almost everywhere. You can go get that wherever books are sold. So that's good. Good to have that back in stock. So that's happening. What else is going on? I got a lot of questions about my podcast. So yeah, it was supposed to launch a little while back. I have about 10 to 15 episodes recorded, and I'll get those out here shortly. So right now, my focus is really on book 4 and getting that as good as I can possibly get it. I'm so excited about it. It's just awesome. So that's my all day, every day is spent writing. But yeah, I'll get that podcast out soon. Got some great guests already in the hopper there, and really it'll just be, great conversations. I have them anyway with a lot of interesting people, so decided just to start recording them and put them up there so that it's not just me benefiting from talking to these amazing people. If you're interested, you can benefit as well. And I think that is it. All right. So I'm back on the workouts. I'll get back to the book right now, book 4. And hey, stay strong out there, stay safe, and keep fighting.